Welcome to the Fight Faction Boxing Podcast with Aidan Thomas and Dean Griffiths. Every week we bring you the latest news from the world of boxing, review the fights from the weekend before, and preview the fights for the week ahead. We have a YouTube channel where we upload the pod in bite-sized chunks, and we also have a Twitter account where we try our very best to identify live boxing on TV. So with all that said and done, we're going to jump straight into this week's news. The first topic I want to talk about, Aid, is, have you heard about what Amir Khan's been saying about the Terrence Crawford fight?
No.
He says he should have had the opportunity to have had a fair fight.
That's reference to the low blows.
Yeah, he's saying he thinks he probably would have won the fight had it taken place somewhere else. He says, like, at least he would have had the opportunity to have had a rematch. So he's really claiming that it's a low shot. He went well below the belt, his exact words. I don't know. I'm trying to read this as I'm read it out as I'm reading it. It's not making any sense. He's kind of claiming robbery
or unfair play, foul play. But
what was unfair about it? He's the one who visibly stopped. He vocally stopped the fight.
Yeah, and he wasn't like angry. If you got sort of hit, and you did affect the nether region, say you were a twisted testicle or whatever, then you'd be angry as a person when you think, I can't continue because this has happened. I'm just, and you'd be in a rage, wouldn't you? He just bow out. Because if you felt something was wrong, you go for a medical examination and you'd be screaming at the guy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he claims the fight was getting closer and closer, and he just lost. As a fallout to this, he's only gone and sacked Virgil Hill, or he's gone. He's not saying he sacked him, but he's not working with him next time. He's gone with Clarence Adams.
Bones Adams.
Yeah. He's gone with him.
I think Hill's probably told him to stop.
Hunter.
Yeah, Virgil Hunter. Yeah, he's probably told him to stop boxing.
It's like he's blaming all his trainers for him having a glass jaw and just not being the elite fighter he thought he was. I mean, he got to take some responsibility of that himself.
Yeah, he should have gone out in his shield, or at least done something a bit more than he did.
Yeah, his best. I thought good, right? He's taking his next fight in Saudi Arabia or wherever he's going. He's fighting low key, and I thought that was the best move on a marketing strategy. So then to turn around and then say, I was kind of robbed. I didn't have a fair crack of the whip and all this sort of stuff. There's a bad look in it. It suggests he's not playing with a full set of marbles.
No, he's looking for excuses to sort of justify his career now, isn't he?
Yeah, his best bet is never talk about this fight. Just say, look, you've seen the way it ended. That's all I want to say about it. Don't go trying to be victim in this. No one's going to, you're kind of a laughing stock as it is right now. So your best bet is to keep your mouth shut and just focus on your next fight.
Yeah.
Focus on the comeback. So, one of, Amir Khan's previous opponents, Zab Judah, give us all a scare this weekend.
Yeah, it was quite sad news, really, because, is he 41 now? I don't think he should be boxing. I mean, he allegedly got a career in nursing, so...
Yeah, it's a shame that there's a certain element of elite fighter that can only end this way. They keep rolling the dice, and he relied on his speed. He didn't really have much of a punch resistance in his prime. So this is the textbook ending. And I was looking through his record. I mean, it's a Hall of Fame career. I mean, lineal welterweight champion of the world. He's won multiple titles. I think he's a 4-time world champion, is he?
Yeah, he didn't need to go for this fight. He just stay out the game.
Must be hard. You're the center of everything for all these years, and then suddenly no one's returning your calls, or you're not invited to talk shows, or to it must be a hard thing, and you can understand why they do make these comebacks, because it's not the fighting they miss, it's the limelight.
Yeah, but it only seems to happen in America. If you look at the blueprint for European and British boxing, when people sort of achieve something and get out the sport intact, they've always got to roll somewhere else. Like even like Frank Bruno, he was doing like charity work, and they've all got roles elsewhere, and they revered. They still get asked on the TV shows.
Yeah, I
You,
suppose that helps because we don't get as many world champions as America does. We can embrace the ones we had.
but
We
then
can catch
again,
them.
you know, it's such a big place, America. There should be plenty of sort of minor TV stations out there running. Could have these guys on, couldn't they?
Yeah, you think in New York, I think Zab Judah wasn't he?
Yeah,
You'd think there's plenty of like community outreaches that he could be the face of. All these. He could still be called champ by somebody, by crowds of people because
yeah.
he's obviously an inspirational story to someone.
And don't
So you'd
forget,
think someone would
in,
use him.
when you got Madison Square Garden showing big fights, why not sort of have the New York boxers or past champions doing the commentary like they were Sky, like Sky.
Yeah, get the Kevin Kellys and the Jab Judah. Get them all in there, innit?
Yeah, if you only give them say 10 minutes here and there once, twice a year, bring
Yeah,
them out. It shows they want it as well, doesn't it?
yeah. Get them the cheers. It's the cheering that they're missing, and when they don't get it, then they end up in these kind of situations where they they desperately fighting. They tarnishing. They're not tarnishing their legacy by any stretch because it doesn't get viewed in that way. But some people, their only image of Zab Judah would be losing to a mid-level fighter.
Yeah, it's
It's like
true.
Roy Jones. The way that it is a whole generation of boxing fans that have only known Roy Jones as a loser.
Yeah, it's just staying too long in the game.
Yeah, it's a sad. Like you made a good point where we don't tend to have that in our country because number one, because we don't have that many fighters get to that kind of world level where they're undisputed champions like Judah was. So the champions we got, we really catch them. They've all got media jobs, like you said, and they tend to stay retired in this country.
Yeah,
It's quite rare when a fighter comes out of retirement in this country.
there's a
Isn't you
good,
know?
yeah, there's a good story, but well, two little ones. Box Nation wanted to find Antonio DeMarco, one of the former lightweights. They wanted to sort of ask him a few questions about the Broner fights and Edwin Valero, and he got hold of the wrong guy. They got hold of Tony DeMarco from the 50s. But fair play to Box Nation, they had him on the show then with a phone sort of question and answer section. So at least they're making use of the time with even with those guys, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you got an explosion of boxing podcasts that in the last couple of years. How many people would love to interview Zab Judah and ex fighters?
Anyone, yeah,
Yeah, no one would turn. Of course, the ESPN produced podcast might not be interested, but there are thousands of boxing fans who would love to do an interview. So there should be some sort of like organization that can point these boxers to public
yeah.
appearances and all that sort of stuff. I
Here's,
wonder.
here's, here's another one I've read this last few weeks. On retiring fighters. He's reading about Sugar Ray Robinson, and he wanted to retire before he fought Carmen Basilio. And he said, "Oh, I'll retire if I win," but he didn't win, so he had a rematch, and he won the rematch. Then he wanted to retire.
Hmm. So
He actually retired 52 fights later. So isn't that crazy? You think he finished, and then you got another 52 fights going.
you got like two careers. It's just sad that we nearly lost. Boxing nearly lost. An ex champion, and I wonder what kind of like medical procedures he was put through before the fight because it was a brain bleed that put him in a coma, wasn't it? That essentially rules him out from ever fighting again, is my understanding.
Where was the fight taking place?
Oh, do you know what? Don't know. I'm looking at in New York, and their commission is really tight.
Yeah, they should have there straight away into the hospital because I was wondering with America, like, have they got to verify these people are covered by medical insurance before they do anything?
Yeah,
So,
apparently in New York, you got to put up £1 million in escrow in
all
order to
right,
sanction a fight in New York. That's the case with mixed martial arts anyway. So I'm assuming it's part of the fight commission Same fight
Yeah.
commissioner overrules that. So you gotta prove that you can pay for these people if they get hurt.
Right.
But he's fought twice in 6 years, and going in against a live opponent in the way that he did. I'm surprised they let that happen.
Yeah, that's been naughty, the commission, that is.
It seems to be, doesn't it?
That's an irresponsible commission, so, people need to sort of look at that.
Well, the interesting thing about this story is that no one is saying it is his last fight, because it's, I can't imagine another another commission sanctioning him, but it should be his last fight, but you never know, do you?
The thing is with America, they got different commissions, they got different rules, and, I remember, it's obviously a different place, Argentina, when Jorge Castro he had a car crash, didn't he? I think he was in a coma and he was allowed to fight again.
There are commissions in America that will let you fight a bear, I bet, wouldn't they?
Oklahoma used to be one, but I think they've tightened up now.
the bear's got to go through a physical.
Apparently, if the bear's medical, he breathes on the mirror, and if it mists up, he's alive.
Yeah, you're good. You're good to go, bear. The last little bit of news. Obviously, got a unification fight to talk about, but Teddy Atlas is getting into the Boxing Hall of Fame, but as a broadcaster. Now, to me, Teddy Atlas is the worst part of whatever show he's on.
Yeah, but I've recently heard a couple of his podcasts, and he's quite a good, insightful knowledge guy. So I think he's better on podcasting because he doesn't have to shout. He just talks about the experiences.
And I suppose we don't get much coverage of him in this country, so we haven't had a chance to get used to his style as much because he's always on the American broadcasts, isn't he? But I hate it when Teddy Atlas is commentating. It puts me off. It puts me out of a fight.
He can do.
Yeah, he just grates at me, I remember that time he was the coach of Michael Moorer, and he basically physically assaulted Michael Moorer at the end of every round. That was his claim to fame. He was giving him more of a beating than Holyfield was.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. I don't dislike the guy, but I don't know enough about his broadcasting career to think of his international Hall of Fame worthy. But it makes me think about, is Jim Watt in there as a broadcaster? Can you go into these into the International Hall of Fame in 2 different categories?
Well, I suppose 3. You could be a promoter as well.
Yeah, because I wonder, is there anybody who's in there twice? I should have looked before I started the pod, but I'd imagine, I always thought Barry McGuigan was a good, broadcaster.
Yeah.
But, he was only in this country. I wondered if people like Roy Jones or someone else. I just, food for thought is all. Last bit of news is a future fight. It's Morris Hooker and what's his name? It's Jose Ramirez. Yeah,
we did a mini YouTube video asking who's his next opponent going to be for Ramirez, didn't we?
Yeah, it doesn't feel as special as it probably would have had Terrence Crawford just gone through and done what he did. Because it's only last year we had a unified champion, so
and also a much bigger fight is Regis Prograis versus Josh Taylor.
Yeah, well, it looks like they're gonna try and match the winners up in there, but it's funny, innit? You wait all this time to have a unified champion, and then we could be in a position where the same divisions had 2 unified champions, who didn't beat the champion, who had to go and scoop up all the belts themselves.
He's a good fight, so I think Hooker Ramirez is a decent fight.
Oh, good fight. It's definitely. I just wish other divisions could do with this easy. What's with why is the junior welterweight so easy to unify to get the fights?
Well, not really, because you got 2 in the World Series, which is already predestined, and then you got Hooker Ramirez is collaboration between Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, Top Rank. So, but it's going to be on the zone. So I'm thinking maybe Arum believes Ramirez is going to win.
I saw a lot of YouTube videos with Bob Arum this week, and wow, that man's still got all his marbles.
Well,
Yeah. He's just like, do you ever watch him on YouTube? He's IFL TV seemed to get a bit of access to him.
yeah, I've seen him on talking about Fury and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, what an interesting guy. I'd love to, he's the most important man in our generation in boxing, if you think about it.
I'm not fussed in his undercards, are they? Not that great.
I don't think he cares, does he? I think
No, I
he
think
knows
also
how to build a fighter.
because when you watch like some of the zone stuff now, shown on Sky, the undercards actually got good, meaningful fights. Where I've watched a lot of PBC and um, the ESPN fights, and they seem to be the undercards not as good.
Yeah,
Um,
there's owner selling the whole package, isn't it? It's
yeah,
interesting.
and what's great for the UK fan is when you staying up till 4 or 5 in the morning, you want to see a good undercard. This is why I think American boxing fans got to understand. We need the undercards because we have to stay awake for the extra 4 or 5 hours, don't we?
Yeah, but what does the couple of 100,000 on a big fight mean ultimately?
Mm.
Yeah. So, have you got any news to bring before we go over to the next segment?
No, I was listening to Terry Atlas early on one of his podcasts, and he was likening Anthony Joshua is a story of Castamato about gangsters. And basically, what he said is when a gangster first comes along, he doesn't care about nothing. He just gets what he wants, kills people or whatever you got to do, to get to where he is. But then he starts getting all the things he wanted, like nice cars, women, money, and that's when he starts to care. And that's maybe like a stage where Joshua got, where he wanted all these things, has got it all, and is he past care? Does he care now? Once
Mm.
you once you got it all,
Yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, Joshua just been announced on the Forbes list of richest sports people. Something like, is it $54 million he's generated
I
this year?
I like to say it's a bit messy at the top, isn't it?
Nice. When we think, see, £54 million, and that's just this year's earnings. And endorsements must have been 2030. How much does he care? This
Yeah.
is a guy who wasn't exactly poor, but he wasn't well off. He's now got everything he'll ever want.
The reason why I ask this is because people are saying, "Oh, it's his job. He's a boxer." But as we know, when you're working, if you win a lottery, you quit your job.
Yeah,
How many people
and
stay
if
in a job like, and when they win a lottery, like?
yeah, no matter how much I enjoy my job, and I enjoy my job, there's a monetary figure. There's a figure where I'll just see my job as a chore. If I've got X amount of money in my bank account, then that getting up in the morning and going to work loses its luster a bit. And I'm
Yeah,
not even boxing. I'm not hitting the road. I'm not road working, sit ups, and all that strength training. Because we tend to think boxing is just about the fight, but it's the 8 weeks, 9, 10 weeks camp before the fight, and then all the obligations afterwards. It's a slog when you're a rich man, isn't it?
yeah, and I think we haven't seen people just getting money and bowing out, have we? We've always seen the boxers sort of stay in the game for a long
Hmm.
time.
It's interesting. I mean, when you're poor and you make your name, it's a journey. Once you've made your name and you're rich, it is a slog. And it takes a. I wonder if Anthony Joshua, because the true greats, doesn't matter how much they got in their bank account, they're still animals, aren't they? But it
Yeah,
doesn't. You don't seem to get that impression with Anthony Joshua. I
yeah,
don't
that's
know.
right.
He wasn't a lifelong boxer. He come into the sport late. With like people like Lennox Lewis and all that sort of stuff. They were lifelong boxers.
Mm.
With Anthony Joshua, boxing seemed to be a tool to get him somewhere.
Yeah, it
And
could be.
now he's somewhere. I wonder if he'll have that inbred fighting instinct to be angry again. I don't know.
And the other thing I seen was Tyson Fury said he wants to fight 3 times this year, making a big deal of it. But when I read this comment, I was also reading, looking up Henry Armstrong's boxing record. I was looking at his
Yeah.
record, and this guy fought I think it was 6 or 8 times in 2 months. I think on one particular occasion he fought the day after he fought some other guy.
Well, I found it interesting. They were on about. We're obviously going to get to Triple G later, but they were explaining how the dynamic is changing slowly in boxing, where the boxers used to decide, or the promoters used to decide who they fought next, how long it would take to fight a meaningful fight, and all that sort of stuff. But they said whatever power the promoters got, lot is losing, because once they start signing up with these streaming platforms and they sign up for multi-fight deals, they're not getting to choose anymore.
Yeah.
Because the streaming platforms know that a shock upset, they want you, they win either way. You either win your fight or you have a loss. Either way, subscriptions will increase. You know, especially if you lose, because they found this with Anthony Joshua. People were subscribing just to see the Andy Ruiz knockout.
Yeah, and the Mexicans as well, like, so they, even though they haven't been in Mexico, yeah.
So they said, you know, post-fight, the last figures for streaming of the Anthony Joshua fight in full was 11 million people sought out that fight. So there's now, you know, Bob Arum is not in control of Tyson Fury's career anymore. ESPN is. If ESPN says, look, you fighting this guy next because your last numbers are crap.
Yeah.
You know, they can't take a gamble on pay-per-view and all that sort of stuff. And DAZN is, regardless of what Canelo wants next, is what DAZN wants next. Even Eddie Hearn was saying, they were interviewing about the Ruiz rematch. And he said, well, I would like it in the UK. He said, but ultimately, it's where DAZN want to put it. And I thought that is a major shift in boxing.
Because DAZN wants to have subscribers, and if they're in the US, they want to keep building.
Yeah. So Anthony Joshua, they were controlling this Joshua ship. Then they signed him up at DAZN, and now DAZN are in control. DAZN will tell Anthony Joshua where he fights next. And
DAZN are very happy that Sky are advertising for free as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I got something else to say about DAZN, but it's pertaining to Triple G fight, which I'll leave for the next segment.
Yeah, one last item in news. I think Andy Ruiz was honored in Mexico City. Well, technically, he's not really a Mexican. He's just got Mexican parents.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, you know, how do the American boxing fans feel about that? Because you got a guy who's American all his life. Now he wants to become Mexican. Surely that's a slap in the face to the Americans, isn't it? And the American people.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, I'd find that offensive. You know, if one of my countrymen was, okay, if you got heritage of another country, yeah, you feel free to welcome it. But they're selling him as the first Mexican heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
And he's not. Thomas Hauser was being interviewed on one of the YouTube channels, and he said, let's get this straight. Andy Ruiz is no more Mexican than I am, essentially, because he's American. So he's an American heavyweight champion with Mexican heritage.
Yeah, that's like every black sort of fighting in America saying they're the first African champion or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, you can say, like you said, you know, the people who get it right say Mexican American, but he's technically not that either. You know, he's American.
But you can either be one or the other, can't you? It's like like what we call the joke in Irish as well, Irish Americans. But if you talk to the Irish guys in Dublin, they'll say no, they're American. You know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Do you see the Snickers made Andy Ruiz a championship belt?
It's good advertising for them, isn't it? You know.
Now, fair enough if he hadn't been making a big point of Snickers, but if he hadn't been making a big point of Snickers, that would be extremely offensive.
Yeah, but like again, Snickers, well, the company who owns Snickers are thinking, wow, you know, free advertising.
Yeah, name dropped, a nice clean cut image of this guy. I'm loving this Andy Ruiz story. I really am. I see him. He was in the airport the other day, and it was just like a kid with a fake belt, because he got a kid face, isn't he? You know, he's adorable.
He looks like the kid of Up, doesn't he? Up the cartoon.
Tyson Fury said that, didn't he? And it's just a lovely story, and but yeah, he's there taking photos with his Snickers belt.
Mind you, could this be the era of the fat heavyweight?
Yeah.
You know, could we see a couple of big, like, butter bean sort of guys just waddling around for the next couple of years after Wilder, Fury, and
Terry Atlas said Andy Ruiz's win has put personal training back decades, because no one's going to see the need to have these chiseled physiques anymore.
Yeah, what's the point in sports science, isn't it?
Yeah, some people got a body type, but they don't burn fat, mind, don't they? Yeah, I've seen marathon runners who are chubby, and I'm thinking, how the hell's that?
No, they're not 280 pounds though. To be fair.
Well, no, it's 290. Let's give him the credit for
180.
his extra pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a bit. He
Don't
could do
don't
better than that.
don't sell yourself short now.
Yeah, I don't want to fat shame him at all, but it's unavoidable, isn't it? It's unavoidable. He knows as well because he said, and he wants to like be able to take his top off and look a bit more chiseled because he knows his kids are going to look back years from now and see his dad with the pictures of the belt.
Yeah.
He wants to show him that he took it serious. But yeah, I wonder if they haven't said yet, but I wonder if the Snickers belt will be up up for fighting in the rematch.
I'm glad their Snickers got in there because the WBC would have put a sanctioning fee on that one if they got in first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or unless they're going to do a diamond WBC Snickers belt.
Yeah, well, we're laughing now, right? And Snickers become a major governing body now.
Aye.
Oh, Jesus. Right, so that's it for the news. Yep.
Yep, well done.
Okay.